Hi everyone, my name is Jessica Plancarte, and today I will be presenting my social issue project on teacher burnout. Teacher burnout is becoming an increasingly serious problem in education, and through research and my own survey data, I will explain how it impacts teachers socially, academically, and financially, and propose realistic solutions. Teacher burnout is defined as a state of chronic physical and emotional exhaustion caused by prolonged workplace stress. It is not just feeling tired after a long day. It includes emotional exhaustion, depersonalization, and reduced sense of personal accomplishment. Burnout develops over time when teachers face constant demands without enough support or recovery. It affects mental health, job performance, and overall well-being. This issue is not just a personal inconvenience. It is a systemic problem. It is a systemic social problem. In my survey of 70 education professionals, 74% reported experiencing high or very high stress levels. Even more concerning, 78% reported emotional exhaustion, and 46% said that they have considered leaving the profession. Schools are facing teacher shortages, and burnout is one of the leading causes. When teachers leave, students and entire communities are affected. Teacher burnout has serious social consequences. It strains family relationships due to work life imbalance. Many teachers bring grading, lesson planning, and stress home with them. Burnout also increases anxiety, depression, and emotional withdrawal. When teachers feel emotionally exhausted, they may unintentionally disconnect from students or coworkers. This weakens school community relationships and can reduce overall morale within schools. Academically, burnout affects instructional quality. When teachers are overwhelmed, it becomes harder to maintain high energy, creative, and engagement in the classroom. This can lower student performance and increase classroom management issues. Financially, burnout is costly. Schools spend thousands of dollars recruiting and training replacement teachers. High turnover strains district budgets. On a personal level, teachers who leave may face financial instability, especially if they resign mid-year. This shows that burnout impacts individuals, students, schools, and taxpayers. One example that reflects this is a first year teacher from my survey who reported working over 60 hours per week when a regular work week is 40 hours. She struggled with student behavior challenges and felt unsupported by administration. Over time, she reported feeling emotionally drained and began questioning whether she could continue in the profession. This case illustrates how burnout is not caused by one bad day. It develops when high demands constantly outweigh available support. Conflict theory argues that society is structured around inequality and power imbalances. It suggests that social problems arise when certain groups have less power and fewer resources within systems. Applying conflict theory to teacher burnout, we can see that teachers often have limited decision-making power compared to administrators, policymakers, and legislators. While expectations increase, such as standardized testing demands, documentation requirements, and behavioral management responsibilities, teachers often do not receive proportional increases in pay, planning time, or support. This imbalance of power and resources creates structural stress, burnout. Therefore, it is not simply an individual issue. It is a result of systemic inequalities within the educational system. Conflict theory helps us to understand that to reduce burnout, structural changes must occur, not just personal coping strategies. In my survey of 70 education professionals, 64% were teachers, 20% were paraprofessionals, which is a teacher's aide, 10% were coaches, and 6% were administrators. This survey was sent out to education professionals, so we also had dyslexia therapists, speech therapists, special education teachers, and special education aides. There was also some secretaries in there, but this was an overall for professionals that are in the education field. Regarding stress levels, 74% reported high or very high stress. Additionally, 78 reported emotional exhaustion, and nearly half, 46%, said they have considered leaving the profession. These numbers clearly demonstrate the burnout is widespread. The most commonly reported causes of stress were workload, student behavior, lack of planning time, and administrative expectations. One key pattern that participants who reported feeling unsupported were significantly more likely to report emotional exhaustion. This aligns with national research showing that support systems and workplace culture play a major role in burnout levels. To address burnout at the school level, districts could increase planning time, reduce unnecessary paperwork, and provide accessible mental health resources for educators. Improving administrative support and communication would also significantly reduce stress levels. At the policy level, increasing teacher salaries, reducing class sizes so a better teacher to student ratio, and finding additional behavioral support staff could address structural causes of burnout. Retention incentives and mentorship programs for new teachers may also help prevent early career burnout. Teacher burnout is a serious and growing social issue. It impacts educators socially, academically, and financially. My survey data confirms high levels of stress and emotional exhaustion among education professionals. Through the lens of conflict theory, we see that burnout is rooted in systemic inequalities within the educational structure. Addressing this issue requires institutional reform and increased support for educators. As someone who works in education, this issue matters deeply to me because supporting teachers ultimately means supporting students and the communities. As a paraprofessional, I see effects of burnout firsthand. Although I may not complete all of the paperwork and documentation that classroom teachers are responsible for, I now have my own classroom for specials, which is I teach computers and carry many of the same daily responsibilities. I deal with behavioral challenges every single day, which can be mentally and emotionally exhausting. Not just that, I also teach from kindergarten all the way to fourth grade. So that is from 5 year olds to 10-year olds. There are times when I've gone to administration for support with serious behavior concerns and did not feel fully supported. The lack of response can make you feel unheard and overwhelmed. I've also observed how stress can affect workplace relationships when morale is low. Communication between coworkers can break down and sometimes negative attitudes spread. That tension adds another layer of stress to an already demanding job. This personal experience reinforces what my data service shows. Burnout is not just about workload, it's about emotional strain, lack of support, and the overall culture within a school.